the realm of combat, where legends are forged in the crucible of endless battles, there existed a being of unparalleled strength. This was Yujiro Hanma, the strongest creature on Earth. His existence was a tapestry woven with threads of victory, each conquest a testament to his insurmountable power. However, the weight of his dominance grew heavy upon his soul. The thrill of battle waned, and an unyielding boredom began to consume him. He had vanquished entire armies, subdued the fiercest beasts, and yet no adversary had ever truly tested his mettle. Driven by an insatiable desire for a worthy challenge, Yujiro resolved to sire a son, a prodigy who could one day rise to his level and finally give him the fight he so desperately craved. His quest led him to Emi Egawa, a woman who outwardly appeared delicate and timid, but whose heart was as dark and as bloodthirsty as his own. Theirs was a bond forged in the fires of shared darkness, a sinister romance that bloomed amidst the ashes of violence. Yujiro, without hesitation, extinguished the life of Emi's husband. Emi, drawn to his power and cruelty, readily agreed to bear his child. And thus, Baki Hanma, the son of the strongest man on Earth, entered the world. Baki's childhood was far from the idyllic days of playful innocence. From his earliest years, he was thrust into a life of relentless training. His father, Yujiro, subjected him to a grueling regimen, depriving him of the simple joys of childhood. While other children frolicked in carefree abandon, Baki's world revolved solely around the pursuit of strength. He was sent to the unforgiving mountains, where he was forced to live like a wild creature, constantly honing his body into a weapon. In the solitude of the wilderness, he encountered Ando Raikai, an old acquaintance of his father. Ando became Baki's mentor, a guiding force in his arduous training. However, despite their efforts, Baki's progress seemed to stagnate. Disappointed, Yujiro abandoned the training, leaving Emi to shoulder the responsibility of shaping Baki into the ultimate warrior. Yujiro's expectations were clear: make Baki strong enough to fight him, or he would cease to see Emi as anything more than a tool. Emi, fueled by a twisted ambition, used her considerable wealth to provide Baki with the finest training available. She hired the best instructors, enrolled him in the most prestigious gyms, and ensured that he possessed the physique of a professional athlete. It's important to note that Emi, having kept all of her deceased husband's fortune, was free to spend as much as she wished. Even as a young boy of only 13, Baki displayed extraordinary fighting prowess. He single-handedly defeated a large group of men, showcasing his raw power. Though he was later overwhelmed by a second group wielding weapons, this defeat only fueled his determination to grow stronger. Baki's life was governed by a single, burning ambition: to surpass his father and claim his rightful place at the pinnacle of power. However, the training provided by his mother fell short of his expectations, and Baki felt an urgent need for something more. He sought a challenge, and in his search for a measure of his current skills, he confronted a world boxing champion. Despite landing a few blows, Baki was easily defeated, highlighting the vast gulf between his current abilities and his lofty goals. Undeterred, he returned to the mountains, seeking guidance from his former mentor Ando. Ando welcomed Baki with open arms, providing him with food, shelter, and further wisdom. He shared tales of a fearsome creature known as Yasha, who dwelled in the mountains, a being that even Ando himself had never managed to defeat. Without hesitation, Baki set out to confront this formidable beast. The encounter with Yasha was a harsh lesson in the vastness of his own inexperience. The creature was far superior to him, and Baki was badly wounded. Only the timely intervention of Ando saved him from certain death. The experience forced him into the hospital for some time. However, Baki's indomitable spirit remained unbroken. He continued his training in solitude, applying the lessons he had learned from his mentor. In this time, Baki discovered the ability to control his body's endorphins, enhancing his reflexes and speed to an unbelievable degree. Fueled by his newfound abilities, Baki faced Yasha once more. This time, after a brutal battle, he managed to defeat the creature. As a sign of respect, Yasha gifted Baki one of his fangs. Emboldened by his victory and the undeniable growth of his physical power, Baki decided to return home, eager to test his skills. His initial plan was to challenge Yuri, the boxer who had previously defeated him. But fate had other plans. A man named Hanma, one of the most powerful figures in the Japanese mafia, had severely injured Yuri, making him unable to fight. Hanma, it turned out, was brought into Baki's orbit by his own mother. Emi was always searching for ways to further Baki's development and had sought out Hanma as a worthy rival for her son. Despite being only 15, Hanma possessed the imposing physique of a man twice his age. Intrigued by the reputation of this mafia prodigy, Baki ventured to Hanma's hideout. He entered with an air of confident nonchalance, attacking Hanma without hesitation. After taking him down, Baki told Hanma that he would be waiting for a rematch. Humiliated and furious, Hanma accepted Baki's challenge. The rematch was a brutal affair. Hanma initially dominated, breaking Baki's arm. However, Baki fought back with fierce determination and ultimately emerged victorious. A grudging respect blossomed between them, and a true friendship was born. But their camaraderie was shattered by the sudden arrival of Baki's father. Yujiro, enraged by Baki's weakness, brutally struck Hanma to demonstrate the gulf in their power. Baki intervened to protect his friend, but he too was struck down, leaving both of them unconscious. Disgusted with his son's weakness, Yujiro killed Yasha in front of Baki to motivate him. This brutal act ignited a fire of rage within Baki. He declared that he would officially face his father in a month. Before the clash, Baki sought advice from General Stridham, another of his father's old acquaintances. Baki consumed one of Yasha's fangs, a symbolic act that spoke volumes about his acceptance of the challenge and his desire to absorb Yasha's power. Stridham directed Baki to a remote location where a group of mercenaries were hiding. Stridham felt that facing this team was a good test of Baki's current abilities. Baki easily defeated most of the soldiers, but one proved to be a far more formidable challenge. The soldier was Gaia, a man with a split personality. He was a duality of Namira, a kind man, and Gaia, the most dangerous super soldier on the planet. After a fierce battle, Baki emerged victorious, earning Gaia's friendship. Upon returning home, Baki was met with a stinging slap from his mother. Emi, frustrated by the fact that Yujiro seemed to no longer care for her because of Baki's perceived weakness, delivered the blow to Baki with cruel intent. Heartbroken, Baki left the hotel, only to be met by Hanma, who offered him shelter and companionship. The day of reckoning arrived, and Baki faced his father before a crowd of onlookers. He attacked Yujiro with everything he had, but his efforts were futile. Yujiro, however, was not disappointed. He acknowledged to Emi that she had done a decent job in educating their son. As the fight went on, Yujiro showed that Baki's efforts were ultimately pointless and defeated him with ease. Even though Baki was knocked unconscious, Yujiro continued to brutalize him. Emi, finally seeing the monstrous nature of her partner, tried to intervene, but Yujiro showed no mercy and ended her life. With her last breath, Emi begged Baki for forgiveness. This act, far from breaking Baki, fueled his desire to avenge his mother and finally overcome his father. He embarked on a rigorous journey of training, learning new techniques and gaining invaluable experience. Eventually, he learned of an underground fighting tournament and sought to enter it to test his skills. The owner of the underground arena, Mitsunari Tokugawa, initially hesitated to allow Baki to participate. However, after witnessing his incredible strength, he readily accepted him. During this time, Baki lived with his girlfriend, Kozue Matsumoto, who loved him deeply and offered him unwavering support. Before the tournament commenced, Baki met Doppo Orochi, a world-renowned karate master, and the two quickly formed a deep friendship. Baki's first opponent in the tournament was Kosho, a fighter known for his peculiar style of attacking the nerves of his opponent. It was a difficult fight, but Baki was able to defeat him, and, as was his pattern, become friendly with his opponent afterwards. The tournament brought Baki into contact with a variety of powerful figures, each with their own unique fighting styles. Baki fought Motobe and was unable to defeat him, but then went on to defeat a wrestler named Toba. He would continue to progress as the tournament moved along, and eventually witnessed the fight between his friend Doppo and his father, Yujiro. Yujiro and Doppo had an amazing battle, but after seeing his son watching, Yujiro displayed the ultimate power of the Hanma family, the demon back. This dramatically increased his power, and he was able to stop Doppo's heart. But the karate master was saved by Kuraha Shinogi, a doctor with incredible knowledge of the human body. Kuraha, however, was not a good man. He was known to be a malicious person who would use people as test subjects. Baki's next opponent was Kureha. He attacked the doctor with fury, fueled by Kureha's mistreatment of others. At first it looked like it was going to be an easy win, but Kureha used his knowledge of the human body to wound Baki. Baki, showing an amazing display of willpower, eventually defeated Kureha with a powerful blow to the stomach. Kureha was in such bad shape that he needed a blood transfusion, and was surprised when the young girl he had cruelly experimented on volunteered to donate her blood. He promised to become a better person as a result. Baki won the tournament, earning the admiration of the other fighters. But he knew that victory was only another step towards his ultimate goal, to surpass his father. Time passed, and another tournament was announced by Tokugawa. This time the prize would be a belt used in the ancient Roman Olympics. This new tournament would bring new and important characters to the series. Doppo Orochi, having lost his right eye in his fight with Yujiro, would participate in this tournament with a new eye patch and more training. The tournament would be divided into blocks, with the winners of each block facing off against each other to find the top two, who would then fight for the belt. Baki's first opponent was a huge fighter, but Baki defeated him easily, qualifying for the next round. It was during this tournament that Baki met Retsu, a character who would become important to the series. Retsu defeated his opponent easily, breaking his neck to win the fight. The tournament continued and a wild creature appeared. This creature was Yasha Jr., the son of the creature Baki had defeated some time before. Yasha Jr. was out of control and Doppo's son, Katsumi Orochi, intervened, looking to kill the creature, but Baki intervened to save Yasha Jr.'s life. Katsumi then had his fight and showed a shocking display of speed, covering 100 meters in a couple of seconds. He won that fight and was qualified for the next round. After a couple of fights, the viewers met Jack Hammer, who was actually Yujiro's son and Baki's brother. Jack had kept his identity a secret and had been using steroids to make his body stronger. After Jack won his match, Yujiro went into the arena to challenge him, wanting to see how strong this new man was. Baki, jealous of the attention his father was giving his brother, tried to stop Jack from fighting Yujiro, but he was easily swatted away. Jack approached Yujiro and told him the truth about his identity, which made Yujiro very happy, and now he wanted to see Baki and Jack fight to see which was more worthy. Baki then had his fight against a Brazilian fighter named Zulu. It was a tough fight, but Baki was able to win and make it to the next round. Retsu also won his match against Toba. One of the best fights of the tournament came when Katsumi faced Hanma. Though Hanma dominated the fight, Katsumi eventually won, even though many think Hanma intentionally let Katsumi win. Shiba and Doppo won their fights, but Shiba was so badly injured that he couldn't continue in the tournament. Shibukawa faced Kosho and defeated him with his experience. Baki's next match was against Igari Kanji, an old professional wrestler who asked Baki to let him win. Baki refused, so Igari had to use dirty tactics to try to win, but Baki ultimately prevailed. Next, Retsu and Katsumi fought, and Retsu easily defeated Katsumi, who had not yet recovered from his fight with Hanma. Jack had a match against Alexander Gallon, and Jack showed his unique fighting style of biting, which, while brutal, was not against the rules. Shibukawa then faced Doppo, and though either could have won, Shibukawa was able to take the victory. The semi-finals pitted Jack versus Shibukawa and Baki versus Retsu. Both brothers were able to win, setting up the grand finale. Baki's friends warned him that Jack was a dirty fighter and used steroids, but Baki was confident he would win no matter what. The brothers met in the arena with respect before their fight. Jack dominated most of the fight, but Baki waited for the opportune moment and struck Jack with everything he had learned in the tournament. Jack was beaten badly, but this only pushed him into an adrenaline-fueled rage, and he started attacking Baki ferociously. However, the effects only lasted for a few seconds, and Jack began vomiting the chemicals he had taken, causing his muscles to fail. Jack, however, didn't give up and continued to attack, but Baki then activated the demon back. Using his power, Baki subdued Jack with a chokehold and left him unconscious, winning the tournament. All the fighters congratulated him, and Jack was the one who gave Baki the championship belt in a beautiful moment of brotherly respect. After the tournament, Baki went back to school as his girlfriend, Kazue, had urged him. But Baki hadn't given up underground fighting. One day at school, Baki fell asleep, and for some strange reason, all of his classmates began to tremble, showing just how intimidating Baki's presence was. That same day, Mitsunari visited Baki to warn him about the escape of 5 dangerous criminals from prison. These men were death row inmates who had managed to escape at the same time, implying a planned event. Mitsunari said that these criminals had come to Japan looking for a fight. The first was Dorian, who had survived execution and easily escaped after beating all of the guards. The second was Hector Doyle, who had survived the electric chair and escaped without any problems. The third was Sikorsky, who used only his fingers to escape a maximum security prison in Russia. He then went to Alexander Galen's home to beat him up, as Galen was well known in Russia. Then there was Speck, who was able to swim underwater for 5 minutes and easily escape an underwater prison. And finally, there was Ruko Yanagi, a criminal known for his poisonous hand, who killed his security team to escape. The 5 convicts all went to Tokyo with a desire to be defeated. The first to appear was Speck, who arrived at Baki's school, beating him in front of his classmates and leaving him unconscious. Baki thought that Speck's presence was like that of an ogre, and he knew this guy was to be feared. Then Dorian showed up, and he used all kinds of weapons to fight. He went looking for Doppo, but first had a brief fight with Retsu, after defeating Katsumi easily. The 5 inmates went to the underground arena to speak with Mitsunari, who asked them why they had come to Tokyo. They all agreed that they just wanted to fight someone strong. Mitsunari said that he could make that happen, and at that moment, Baki and his friends came to face the inmates. Mitsunari organized a 10-participant tournament with simple rules. Anyone could challenge them to a fight anytime. The first fight was Dorian versus Doppo. They left the arena together, and after a brief conversation, started fighting in the middle of the street. Retsu showed up to take revenge for what had happened at the dojo, but Doppo said he had it under control. The fight didn't last long, but the most shocking thing happened when Dorian cut Doppo's hand with a special wire. According to Dorian, the wire was used in space by astronauts and could also be used as a weapon. Doppo attacked Dorian with his injured hand in order to give himself time to escape. If he had stayed, he would have lost because of the blood loss. Elsewhere, Igari Kanji kidnapped Sikorsky, wanting to take revenge for what Sikorsky had done to him. Sikorsky beat Igari and his henchmen badly, and declared he wanted to fight the strongest man in the world. Baki was walking with his girlfriend when Speck appeared in front of them. Hanma saved his friend by bringing Speck to a park nearby. Speck and Hanma had a brutal battle that was considered one of the best in the series. Hanma defeated Speck, but was so badly injured that he had to be transported to a hospital. Hanma earned the respect of fans as a result of his risk for his friend. The next day, Baki was visited by Hector Doyle at school. Doyle wanted to fight Baki, but Baki fled, not because he was afraid, but because he didn't want to endanger his classmates. But to his surprise, Yanagi also appeared to challenge Baki. In the middle of their fight, Shibukawa appeared to help, but he didn't do much, and Baki ended up being defeated by Yanagi. At this point, Shibukawa had not yet overcome his trauma from losing to Yanagi. Baki and his friends met at Mitsunari's house, where the old man scolded them for losing. While they were there, Dorian burst in, which was a mistake because everyone there beat him up badly and he had to escape. When Baki went home, he discovered that Sikorsky had broken into his girlfriend's house and kidnapped her. This angered Baki greatly. It was then revealed that it was Yujiro's idea to have Sikorsky do this in order to motivate Baki. Yujiro and Sikorsky were about to fight when Oliver Biscuit showed up. The strongest man in the United States had come to Tokyo and had been hired by the government to catch the escaped convicts. Baki also arrived and without hesitation attacked Sikorsky, throwing him out of the building, and then attacked Oliver Biscuit, but realized he was too heavy and tough. Baki continued to look for Sikorsky and found him in an abandoned building. They fought, and Baki, filled with rage, beat Sikorsky brutally before Oliver showed up and took Sikorsky to jail. Baki was amazed by Oliver's power and decided he wanted to fight him. As time went on, Doyle had the most fights, facing off against Oliver Biscuit, Doppo, Retsu, and Katsumi. Baki and Kazue continued to develop their relationship, and the first time they slept together, Yujiro showed up to give Baki a motivational talk and urged him to sleep with his girlfriend constantly to become stronger. Baki listened to his father and spent days locked up with his girlfriend. To test his new strength, Baki was visited by Yanagi. Baki was now stronger and easily defeated Yanagi along with Sikorsky, who showed up wanting revenge. Yanagi and Sikorsky felt humiliated and were so upset that they started to cry. Baki didn't want to keep fighting and left with his girlfriend. Baki had been poisoned by Yanagi during their previous fight, but didn't think much of it or seek medical attention. As a result, the poison slowly began to consume his body. Dorian was defeated by Doppo, and then Retsu hit him so hard that he lost his memory. Doyle was defeated by Katsumi, but unlike the other inmates, he accepted his defeat. But Yanagi attacked him and left him blind. Doyle was then taken to jail by Oliver Biscuit. Sikorsky was defeated again by Jack Hanma, and then again by Gaia. He begged for his life and accepted his defeat. Yanagi was defeated by Motobe, who cut his hand and left him badly wounded, before being knocked out by Yujiro, who was looking for Yanagi to accept his defeat. All 5 inmates had been defeated and returned to prison, except for Dorian. Baki was still suffering from the effects of the poison, and it didn't seem that his Hanma blood could save him this time. A new character appeared, Ali Jr., the son of the legendary boxer Muhammad Ali. He quickly became hated because he was flirting with Baki's girlfriend while Baki was in the hospital. Baki got worse, and Retsu, as a good friend, took him to China to try and cure him. The inmate arc ended, and Baki and his friends entered a martial arts tournament held every 100 years. The winner would be recognized as Kaio Emperor, a title for the strongest fighters. Kaku Kaio, a man over 140, was participating, and he was considered the strongest and most respected man in China, the Emperor of the Sea. Ali Jr. also entered the tournament and was part of Baki's team. Yujiro also joined the tournament. Retsu had to fight against Baki's team since he was Chinese. The first round didn't have many good fights, and it was clear that the Japanese fighters would easily defeat everyone else. Yujiro humiliated Retsu's master, and Baki faced an opponent who used poison, but Baki was able to eliminate the poison from his body with the support of his girlfriend and his Hanma blood. Yujiro observed Baki's fights like a proud father. Baki provoked Yujiro by telling him that he was scared, angering Yujiro, who showed his superior power. In the second round, the Japanese team crushed the Chinese team. Kaku was upset and changed the rules to be a 5-on-5 tournament, with the winning team being the one with the most victories. Baki's team won all of their fights, except for Retsu, but Yujiro wanted to be the center of attention and declared that his fight against Kaku was the most important. The fight was amazing, and Kaku was able to knock Yujiro onto his back for the first time, but Yujiro eventually won and Baki's team was victorious. After this, Baki and his friends returned to Japan. Ali Jr. wanted to steal Baki's girlfriend and decided that he would have to defeat Baki first. So, before the fight, he decided to fight Baki's friends, defeating Shibukawa and Doppo easily. However, he was defeated by Jack and badly injured, leading to rematches against Doppo and Shibukawa, who won their fights easily. Despite all of his defeats, Ali Jr. continued his plan to steal Kazue, so Yujiro and Ali confirmed a fight between their sons. The fight was disappointing, and Baki only needed one punch to knock him out. After this, Baki officially challenged Yujiro. Yujiro accepted, and Baki began a new training routine. Baki faced imaginary enemies, including a copy of his father and a copy of Iron Michael, and a giant praying mantis. Stridon told Yujiro about Baki's peculiar training, and Yujiro laughed. Baki knew his training wouldn't be enough, so he wanted a real challenge. His goal was to enter Arizona State Prison, so he kidnapped the President of the United States, asking him to send him to the same prison as Oliver Biscuit, who was known as Mr. Unchained. The President accepted, and Baki was sent to the prison, and found that Oliver had many luxuries and wasn't even in a cell. Baki had to wait to fight Oliver because Gevaru, known as Mr. Second, was going to fight him first. Baki used his time in prison to train and met Iron Michael, who was a representation of Mike Tyson. Oliver was very interesting and even had his wife, Maria, in the same prison as him. Gevaru's fight against Oliver did cause Oliver to bleed, but ultimately, Oliver won the fight. This excited Baki, and he wanted to fight Oliver. Baki continued to provoke Oliver, wanting to hurt his pride, and even did a show where he mocked him, before calling him an old man. Oliver decided not to fight Baki in that place, and instead went to see Maria. Oliver couldn't forget the humiliation and set up his fight against Baki, wanting to humiliate Baki in front of everyone. When Oliver went to visit Baki, Baki provoked him, telling him that he was pathetic for wanting to fight in front of an audience. Baki kicked Oliver in the face, and they started to fight then and there. Oliver treated Baki like a toy, showing his superior strength, and threw Baki through concrete walls and out into the prison yard. Baki's blows did nothing to Oliver, and Oliver slammed Baki into the ground, nearly knocking him unconscious. But then, Baki activated his demon back, and with one punch, he knocked Oliver out. Oliver was surprised by the sudden increase in strength, but it wouldn't be enough to defeat him. Oliver used the Pac-Man technique and ate Baki, before doing it again, allowing Baki to find a way to break out. The two started exchanging blows, without any techniques, just strength. In the end, Baki did the impossible and defeated Oliver with his physical strength. Oliver acknowledged Baki's strength and ordered the warden to release him. Baki left the prison and went to the airport, feeling ready to finally confront his father. Elsewhere, Yujiro waited impatiently for his son to arrive. This would be the best fight of all time.